Do we have any rules in our house that don't make sense?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What are some of the rules or boundaries that we use most in our family?
Curfew, definitely curfew.
I have many rules at my house.
So I think we came up with these boundaries purely because it's for their protection.
My mom and dad have rules.
I do explain the reason behind rules and boundaries, mainly because I don't want to just sound like a dictator.
We realise the dangers of having that kind of freedom without the maturity to deal with it. I think that's the biggest key, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I may disagree with the rules, but I know that my parents are just trying to keep me safe.
I need them to understand why there are rules and why they have to follow them.
It's a really good idea to set a boundary, at least for me and my siblings. That curfew really helped us to set boundaries with the friends that we were hanging out with, especially boys.
My son, he has an early start for school every day. So I'm like, phones off at 8 o'clock, in the bed by 9 o'clock, but that's because he has to wake up.
We try to teach them principles, don't we, rather than making it an absolute rule.
We usually get like a limited amount of screen time, like our phones are pretty much kind of locked down and stuff, which is good. Boundaries, other boundaries.
There really aren't any subjects that are taboo in our home, so sex is something that we're not afraid to talk about.
Our personal family standard is no sex before marriage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is our faith-related belief.
I taught them, and continue to teach them, that you should never feel pressured into having sex. No one should ever make you feel less than or make you feel like that you're going to lose them if you don't have sex with them, or if you're not ready. If you're not ready.
Dangers of promiscuity, unwanted pregnancy, STDs, they seem to be on the rise all the time. So we feel that by waiting until, they've met that right person and their life partner, that those things are massively reduced.
I had to grow up and be more of an adult faster because I made those adult decisions too soon. I don't want it to be that type of situations for my daughters either, so yeah.
The general rule in our house is keep your clothes on. I know that doesn't protect from everything, but
as we've taught these ideas and these ideals, that they feel the same way and that they will want to honor that themselves.
Every time I leave the house, and she says, no smoking, no drugs, no alcohol, don't go to jail, don't have sex, and have fun.
I think we definitely have to remind the kids of some of these rules and boundaries, don't you?
we expect our kids to be honest with us, and that's something we've been reinforcing since they were really little.
If you don't follow the rules, then you have to tell your parents.
Tara, why are you crying? What's wrong?
Nothing.
Well, I can see that you're very upset, so just tell me what happened.
You're just gonna freak out like you always do.
I don't freak out, just what's going on?
Okay, well, when you and Mom went to bed last night, some of my friends picked me up and we went to this college party.
Wait, are you serious right now? Are you kidding me? What were you thinking?
Well, it was just a party.
Oh, okay, so a party. So there's probably drinking, guys, drugs. What did you do? Did you do anything? Did you have anything?
Never mind, I knew you would do this. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
No. Tara, this is serious. We're talking about this right now.
Well, you aren't listening
You're
to
gonna tell
me.
me everything
Stop
that happened
yelling
right
at me.
now. Tara, we're gonna talk about it right now. Why are you crying? What's wrong?
Nothing.
Well, I can see that you're very upset, so just tell me what happened.
You're just gonna freak out like you always do.
Hey, I promise I'll just try to listen, all right? So what's up?
Okay, well, last night when you and Mom went to bed, me and my friends, we went to this college party.
Okay, and what happened?
Well, we got there and people were drinking and there was alcohol and people were smoking weed.
Okay.
Well, and we were there and like people kept offering me beer, like a lot, and I kept saying no and it was getting awkward, I don't know, and so I just held a beer in my hand, like I didn't want anyone to ask me about it anymore, so I just held it, but I didn't drink or anything.
Is that
I didn't drink it.
Is that what's upsetting you, or is?
No, not necessarily. Alexis was there with me, and there's this guy, and he just kept hitting on her, and just like he would not leave her alone, and it was just like getting really scary.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Take a breath. Can you tell me what else happened?
All right, cross that off the list.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have an erection?
Whoa, you are way too young to be talking about that. We'll talk about it when you're older.
Okay.
All right, cross that off the list.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have an erection?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a really good question. Have we ever talked about that before?
No.
All right, well, an erection is when the blood vessels to the penis fill and it makes it firm rather than limp. Where did you hear that word?
Some guy made a joke about it during swim team.
All right, well, you know what? You're gonna hear words that you might not understand, and you can always come to me and ask. Like, I'm always here for all of your questions. Okay?
Scared me.
Sorry, didn't start me.
Schmoopy.
About this before?
I can't.
I'm not gonna laugh, just so you know. I'm not gonna laugh. Bill making it firm. No, it's me. I'm sorry. What did I?
You said soft.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, same thing. Okay, thank you. Phil making it stop. It's not funny, it's science.
It's so funny because of the...
Okay, sorry guys.
When you said lamp... When you said...
To your penis, Phil making it... It's not funny. I'm not gonna laugh. So where did you hear that word? Okay, let's start again. Blood vessels in your penis, Phil. Blood vessels in your penis, Phil. Fill and make it firm rather than limp.
They were the one that time.
Sorry.
One of the key tools parents can use to reduce the risk of sexual abuse is learning how to talk to their children about sexuality, and specifically teaching them healthy sexuality. I want to share a story about this, a very personal story, where I botched it big time. In fact, I have a good friend that says every family has a burnt waffle. And what she means by that is the first child gets the experiment. So I'm going to tell you about my first child and our discussion about sexuality and how I botched it, and contrast it hopefully with some positive examples that I had with some of my other children. So my oldest child was 8 years old. This was about 10 years ago. He's now 18. I was going to take my son to a basketball game. We're going to have the big talk. So if you can imagine this, we're driving to a basketball game, and being first-time over-paranoid parents, of course, he's in the back seat as an 8-year-old, sitting in a booster seat. Just what you would expect from first-time parents, right? So I just lay it out and tell all about how sex works, why we have sex. And I went on for about 20 minutes. And at the end of that 20 minutes, I asked him, son, do you have any questions? He said, yeah, Dad, I have one. So I'm all amped up thinking this was going to be a great conversation. This was going to be a major success. And then he asked this question. Dad, can we talk about something else? Well, you can imagine how I felt as a parent. I thought, oh, that was a total fail. But what wasn't a failure is it started something inside my family that I consider to be extremely valuable. And that is, we as parents learn the importance of talking about sexuality with our kids. So let me contrast this with his younger sister, who's 2 years younger. She was 6 at the time. We immediately had age-appropriate discussions with her about her body and about things that would make sense to her at her age. We didn't have the big talk, but we started the little talks. We started the dialogue. An interesting thing happened as she turned 8 years old. We didn't have to come to her. She came to us. I remember it vividly. We were sitting in our bedroom. I was sitting on the end of her bed. She asked a question that was very poignant about sex. Christy and I made eye contact, and we knew we were heading down the road. She went on for about 30 minutes to ask question after question about sex and sexuality. It was a very appropriate, healthy discussion. Some of the key things that I want you to take away from this. First, if you open a dialogue with your kids about sexuality, it will bear good fruit over time. Second, you as a parent have the responsibility to protect your kids, to keep them safe. And sometimes having hard or what can be uncomfortable conversations with your kids about sex is part of that responsibility. Third, if you open dialogue with your kids, the likelihood that they will elevate conversation to you when they need help or when they are at risk is much higher than if you never talk about the topic. Teaching your kids about sexuality is one of the key tools that you can use as parents and caregivers to keep your children safe from sexual abuse.
Denke an das letzte Mal, als dein Kind eine starke Reaktion auf eine Situation hatte oder sich überfordert fühlte. War es schwierig für dein Kind, seine Gefühle auszudrücken? Wenn ein Kind starke Emotionen empfindet, kannst du ihm helfen, seine Gefühle anhand des Rads der Emotionen zu identifizieren. So kannst du es dabei unterstützen, seine Emotionen auf eine effektive Art und Weise zu verarbeiten. Das Kind dreht zuerst den inneren Ring am Rad der Emotionen, bis es die Emotion sieht, die es gerade empfindet. Ist es traurig? Überrascht? Wütend? Wirf einen Blick auf die Liste der anderen verbundenen Gefühle. Stelle Fragen, um herauszufinden, was passiert ist, dass diese bestimmte Emotion ausgelöst wurde. Denke daran, dass es normal ist, verschiedene Gefühle gleichzeitig zu empfinden. Vermittle deinem Kind, dass es völlig in Ordnung ist, wenn es während dieser Aktivität mehr als eine Emotion wahrnimmt. Wir können sogar Emotionen fühlen, die widersprüchlich erscheinen, wie zum Beispiel Erleichterung und Traurigkeit. Wenn Kinder die Emotionen identifizieren können, die sie empfinden, hilft es ihnen, sich wahrgenommen und verstanden zu fühlen. Eine Emotion zu benennen, kann sie auf den nächsten Schritt vorbereiten, die Entscheidung darauf, wie sie reagieren werden. Der äußere Ring am Rad der Emotionen zeigt verschiedene Bedürfnisse, die wir alle haben. Sich um diese Bedürfnisse zu kümmern, ist eine gute Möglichkeit, um Emotionen zu verarbeiten. Hat dein Kind das Bedürfnis nach Hoffnung, Akzeptanz und Zugehörigkeit? Oder vielleicht Sicherheit und Unterstützung? Unterstütze dein Kind bei der Auswahl einer der Aktivitäten, die es ausprobieren möchte. Es ist wichtig, deinem Kind zu vermitteln, dass es seine Emotionen erkennen und seine Bedürfnisse ausdrücken kann. Das Rad der Emotionen kann ihm helfen, Maßnahmen zu ergreifen, um seine Bedürfnisse zu erfüllen und seine Gefühle erfolgreich zu bewältigen.